ॐ जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। Om. O gods, may we always hear with our ears what is auspicious. O worshipful ones, may we with our eyes always see what is auspicious. May we live our allotted life hale and hearty, offering our worship unto thee. May Indra of ancient fame bestow auspiciousness on all of us. May the all-nourishing portion be propitious to all of us. May Garuda, the destroyer of all evil, be well disposed towards all of us. May Brihaspati ensure all our welfare. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. We have been studying the fourth and last chapter of the Mandukya Karikas. This fourth chapter is named as Alata Shanti. And what is the main Gaudapada's argument? And Gaudapada's argument is nothing but Advaitic argument. When Shankaracharya condensed the entire Advaitic teaching into three parts, Brahma Satyam, God alone is real, Jagat Mithya, which means really there is no world at all. What we call the world is nothing but Brahman with Nama and Rupa, and therefore there is no world. Because there is no world, God is the creator, and this world is the created one, this causal relationship that will be automatically negated. Then what about me? Well, you also do not exist as part of the world. Then is it complete annihilation, complete shunya? No. You are none other than Brahman. Brahman is alone there. That is the essence of Advaita Vedanta. Whereas according to Visishta Advaita, three things are absolutely real. Ishvara is real. His creation called Jagat is real. It is called Chit. And this objective world called Achit, that is also real. But this Chit and Achit are part and parcel of that one whole, which is Ishvara. So Ishvara contains both the individual soul, that is called Jivatma, as well as the world, which seemingly doesn't have consciousness. And so the waking state is also real. The dream state is also real. And the deep sleep state is also real. No state is unreal. That is why it is called Visishta Advaita. Advaita with certain parameters. not one, but one in three, three in one. These are all opinions. But some of the arguments that are given are marvelous in Advaita Vedanta. In fact, whether it is Dvaita, Visishtadvaita, or Advaita, these are all philosophical views. This is, in other words, this is called world view. How one views the world. Is it real? If it is real, there must be a cause. Is it unreal? If it is unreal also, even to say something is unreal, there must be a substratum for the unreality to be experienced. We require a very sharp intellect to make this distinction. If anybody says, I see a snake, later on it proves to be there is no snake at all, but I have mistaken something else. In this case, it happens to be a rope. But there is a causal relationship. If there had been no rope, there would not have been any snake at all. But let us also not think that snake is the only example. Rope can appear as a snake, as a garland, as a streak of water, or even as a crack in the earth. Or if somebody is having better imagination, he can think of as anything else. So suppose a Frenchman, just now I made it up, while cycling, they will have a huge bread. It will be at least half a yard long. And they go on munching on one hand. So the fellow may be hungry, may be very fond of this kind of bread. And by the way, German bread is very hard bread. So they prefer it that way. Whereas Indians always prefer very soft bread, sweet bread, etc. Germans are very hardy people. So what we mistake something to be depends upon what we imagine. So another example is just for our what it's called enjoyment. A man was walking in quite an amount of darkness, not merely semi-darkness, quite advanced darkness. Still something can be seen. So a drunkard was walking. He saw, and then, oh, I'm much better. At least I'm able to walk. This fellow is unable to walk. And then a thief is walking. Oh, I think the policeman got the news. They are waiting for me with a stick. And a lover is going, and he thinks, my beloved would not wait for me at the appointed place. So he is waiting for me right on the way. Only a person who knows all these things goes near, and then he finds it is nothing but a stump of a tree. So imagination. So whatever we imagine to be, either we are frightened or we like it very much, we can mistake many things, and that is what everyday experience is there. Just to add a bit of spice. Suppose somebody is very fond of fried things, pakoda, for example, and is going by the street, and the smell comes, a peculiar smell associated with pakodas, and he thinks pakodas are being made. He may be completely wrong. It may be some other thing being fried, nothing to do with pakodas. But that is how our imagination works, and especially marriage works only with imagination. When imagination is removed, marriage breaks down. So better keep some imagination, kalpana, then everything will be Swargaloka. The whole Swargaloka is nothing but pure imagination. And the thing is, many times we see, I can't stop myself recollecting these things, and Swargaloka Ramba, Urvashi, Tilottama are there. Indra gets disgusted, comes to Bhuloka and to see some other woman. We are dreaming of Swargaloka. Swargaloka Vasi is dreaming of Bhuloka. What a contrast it is. Anyway, what is the point? There is no world at all. It is all unreal. Now we are experiencing it. So the whole debate, if we have to squeeze the essence of all the four prakaranas, according to Advaita Vedanta, what is the essence? That there is no world. That means there is no bondage. That means there is no jiva. That means there is no sadhaka. That means there is no siddhi. That means there is no guru. There is no disciple. There is no God. There is no sadhana. Nothing. This is what in the second chapter, Vaitatya Prakarana, 32nd Karika, I think. So there is na nirodho na cha utpattihi. In that shloka, Karika, Gaudapada summarizes all these arguments that follow in the third Prakaranam and now also fourth Prakaranam. And most of the fourth Prakaranam is a rehashing, as we call it, of the earlier Prakaranams. But the essence is this. Is this world Satyam or Mithya? And it is Mithya. It is not Satyam. So I'm reminding you some of the basic arguments. What is it? Whatever is changing, that is Mithya. Whatever never changes, that means beyond time, that is called Satyam. Trikala abadhitam Satyam. Trikala badhitam Mithya. So Mithya means what is called under the subjugation of time. There is a past, there is a present, and there is a future. And time means change. So whatever we may experience, if it is changing, it is a mithya. For example, a person sees a snake. He gets frightened naturally, so long as he knows it is a real serpent. But then when light is brought up, he understands there is no snake at all. So with that, all the effects of the mithyatva is gone. What is the point here? Point is the snake seeing our seeing the snake as a beginning, and it continues for some time. How long? Until the light is brought up. And then we perceive the substratum. When once we perceive the substratum, then we see the changeful thing comes to an end because the substratum never changes. The rope, relatively speaking, as an example, speaking as an example, relatively, it is satyam. No change is there. But really speaking, rope also has no adhisthana. What is it? Because it is made up of fibers. And fibers are made up of some basic raw materials from some plants. And the plants have their own birth, growth, death, etc. Then Panchabhutas are the cause. Panchabhutas are always changing. And when Panchabhutas are changing, there must be a substratum. That substratum is Atman. What is Atman? Pure consciousness. What is pure consciousness? Awareness that I am lighting up. There is a Panchabhuta. There is a mango tree. There is a person. Unless I cognize, and that cognizer is able to cognize only because of that endowment of pure consciousness or awareness. And without that cognition, power of cognition, person will not be able to cognize anything. So everything depends upon our cognition. Ultimately, we are cognizing the waking state, dream state, and as well as the dreamless state. continuously. So, how do we know we are cognizing the dreamless state? Simple. We are for some time in the waking state. So, waking state has a beginning. When does it begin? When the deep sleep comes to an end. When does it end? When our dream state starts, begins, and dream state continues. Then the dream state ends. How do we know? Then we don't dream anymore. So we go into deep sleep state. And then deep sleep has a beginning, and then there is an end. So there is an end of something, there is a beginning of something. So this continuous Brahmachakra is going on all the time. So whatever is changing, that is called mithya. Not non-existence, but mithya. And now, but how do we know that it is changing? There is a changeless witness called consciousness, and that changeless consciousness must be changeless because to cognize a change, there must be unchanging power of cognition. This is the entire Advaita Vedanta Vada. What is it? Ultimately pure consciousness. Now, has a pure consciousness, has it a beginning? No, it doesn't have a beginning. Because if it is a beginning, there must be some other consciousness which is witnessing a beginning and a continuation and an end. And that is why by this time we should be able to understand that the waking state starts and the deep sleep state ends. And when dream state starts, the waking state comes to an end. And when the deep sleep starts, the dream state comes to an end. And again, when the deep sleep state ends, then the waking state starts. And I, the continuous witness, is witnessing the beginning, the end of any number of states. It could be 3, it could be 300. It doesn't matter. So this is the main crux. Now, what is the point? The point is we are witnessing everything is changing. I was born, then my body was changing, my mind is also changing, and death will come. We all know there is no fool on this earth who says, I will be deathless. Everybody knows sooner or later death will come. And then things change. Sometimes I am happy, sometimes I am not happy. Sometimes I exist, sometimes I do not exist. That is to say, sometimes I am manifest, sometimes I am not manifest. So everything is changing. This fact of changing is everybody's experience. Nobody can say, I don't see any change, unless the person is a dead person. So this is the main argument of Gaudapadacharya, and this is very nicely presented in the second prakaranam called Vaitathya Prakaranam. Tathya means truth, Vaitathya, Vitadhya, that is untruth, Mithya. That is why Bhagavan Buddha was called Tathagata. Tatha, that word came from this Tathya. Tathya means Satyam. That happened. So he became enlightened, he became awakened. That is why he is called Buddha. Buddha means an awakened person. Tathagata means he reached that state of realization, Aham Brahmasmi. Call it Brahman, call it Shunyam, call it Nirvana, it doesn't matter. So this is what has been. We have already gone through that. Gaudapada presented it. He is representing, and representation is not a defect, because until we are convinced everything is changing and nobody likes a change. This is something extraordinary psychological fact. If I love somebody, somebody loves me, I never want to commit to change it. What is the change? Change is I stop loving and somebody else stops loving me. I was happy and I'm not happy. I don't like this state. But so long as this continues, I have to accept the fact. Even when I accept, my heart doesn't accept. I want to be continuously in a state of happiness. I was healthy. Now I am not healthy. I was young. I am now old. So many things are changing. Change is not welcomed by any one of us. But one type of change is welcomed eagerly. What is it? When I am unhappy, I definitely want a change to this state of happiness. When I am unhealthy, I definitely want to be healthy. When I am ignorant, I definitely want to be knowledgeable. So there is something called better, and that betterness is always welcome. But if things are normally changing, this betterness also will become bitterness one day, and it will definitely change. So this is the essence of not only what we discussed, but what we are going to discuss. And in our last class, we have dealt with what is called two Karikas, 34th and 35th. What is it? Just very briefly, just to recollect for our memory. Prayuktam darshanam gatva kalasya नियमात् गतौ प्रतिबुद्धश्च वै सर्वः तस्मिन् देशे न विद्यते. Perhaps a person is dreaming. This is a dream example. And he has gone to a distant country. Takes a long time. In dream also, it doesn't take a long time because from the waking point of view, the time measurement in the dream is very short. One can go to America, Australia, hopefully not to Canada or to Mars within a few seconds, twinkling of an eye. So, nayuktam darshanam gatva kalasya aniyamat. When we wake up, not in the dream. In the dream, nothing is unnatural. When we wake up, what we have experienced in the dream is not rational, unreasonable, because he has gone to America, Australia, and came back. But pratibuddhascha, that is as soon as he wakes up, enters into waking state. Sarvaha, anybody who is dreaming, tasmin deshe, the countries he visited, and where somebody had woken him up, or somebody slapped him in America, and he wakes up. He doesn't find himself in America, fortunately for the other person. So, this is what we have discussed. That is, time and space, they do not reflect our experience of time and space in the waking state. And then the next 35th, Mitradhyai saha sammantriya sambuddhau na prapadyate grihitanchapi yat kinchit pratibuddho na pashyati. It is a waking person. And he just woke up from what? From dream state. And then what did he see in the dream state? He went and then had a nice time, quality time with his friends. It could be next door, next country, Mars, anywhere. Mitra Adhyahi Saha. Friends. What is Adhya? It could be inimical also. So they also had a quarrel there. A fellow who had quarreled in the waking state with his neighbor, and he is still raging with him. And he goes to dream state, and there also there is a very possibility he and the other fellow are still continuing the shouting match. So Saha, some mantriya, he had beautiful time or worst time, sambuddhau. And as soon as the person wakes up, he does not see his friends there. And then his friends also never recollect we have met anywhere. Na prapadyate. It is not possible. Not only that. And when you are coming back after meeting your friends and out of love, they give you something. And you are very happy to bring it back as a loving token. And then when you wake up, you don't see that token at all. Pratibuddhaha grihitanchapi na pashyati. This is what we have discussed in our last class, just for our recollection. Now we will proceed further, and the argument goes in a similar vein, so it should not be difficult. But some of the most marvelous, deeply penetrating reasonings are given, which I find extraordinarily enlightening. That is what I will underline, highlight when we are talking. So 36th Karika, Swapne cha avastukah kayah पृथक् अन्यस्य दर्शनात् यथा कायः तथा सर्वं चित्तदृश्यम् avastukam. The body which is active in dream, as soon as we wake up, so we perceive it, that dream body as unreal, because as the other body, that is to say, the waker's body, as soon as we wake up, we find ourselves exactly where we were lying down before we start dreaming, quite distinct. So the body, which was very active in the dream state, was quite different. And this body, which is lying like a log or a corpse, is quite distinct from it. And that is what we see where we are lying down. So you go somewhere, but you don't see ourselves somewhere upon waking up. Like the body, that means like our experience of the waking body and dreamer's body, from the waking point of view, everything that is experienced by the mind in the dream state is unreal. But Gaudapada wants to give this analogy just like that. The same thing happens when we end this waking state, go into dream state. So we don't see this waking state as real. For the dreamer, waking world is unreal, just as for the waker, the dream experience is unreal. So upon waking up, we perhaps can remember some of our dream experiences, and then we look into that and say, that is all unreal. Whatever happened. So you met somebody whom you love, and you won a lottery ticket, and then you are very happy. I am very happy if you can dream such things. At least I don't need to see your castor oil face in the waking state. At least for some time, you are made happy, at least in your dream. And that is why the stupid fellows goes on singing, Dream Girl. Waking state girl never gives them happiness. Only dream boy, dream girl, they only give happiness. At least for some time, let them be happy. So this is what Gaudapada is telling. The body which is active, so long as the dream lasts, can be clearly perceived as unreal. When not in the dream, but as the other body. What is the other body? Waker's body and dreamer's body is compared here. So the waker's body will be in the waking world, in the same place, on the same cot, with the same family members, etc. It is quite distinct when it is perceived. Like the body, body is only an example. Everything that we experience in the mind is unreal. So what is the significance of this chapter? This is what Shankaracharya sums up, that even the waking experiences, on account of their being similar to the dream experiences, are unreal. And Anandagiri's take extraordinarily enlightening to grasp the subtleties of these arguments. What I just now explained is a very gross meaning. And Anandagiri explains the body which is active in the waking state, is lying motionless in the bed. But when the dreamer perceives that he is wandering at various places, so the dreamer's body is moving from place to place, maybe went on a holiday and taken a camera hanging round his neck, and he is taking every photograph. That body is totally different. When he suddenly wakes up from that dream, he finds exactly where his dream began in the waking state. Therefore, therefore, wherefore, therefore, from the standpoint of the waking state, this dream body is unreal. This is very important for us to understand. So long as we are dreaming, dream state is absolutely real, just like waking state. So similarly, from the standpoint of the ultimate reality, so why do we see, why do we all feel dream when we wake up from the dream? It is all unreal, unsubstantial, mere what is called imaginations. But we never lose that sense that this what we see in the waking state is unreal. We don't see that. Why we don't see that? Because there is a long standing an argument which I will recollect for you. We have discussed it in earlier chapters. What is it? One of the Purva Pakshi, that is the opponent, says, hey, look, you cannot compare dream and waking state. And we ask, Siddhanti asks, why not? Why? Because when you are dreaming, every day the dream is different. In the same night also, one day you see you are in America, and another day that is dreams day, not waking day. So you find yourself in Australia or Canada or anywhere else, even neighborhood, it doesn't matter. But you are thinking it is all real so long as you are in the dream. But every day you may have any number of dreams. As soon as you wake up, you find exactly same house, same place, same family members, same boring job, same thundering, perhaps boss. Nothing changes. You see, dream is changing, waking is not changing. This is the argument. Then what was the answer? First answer given was, sir, when you are in the waking state, do you ever pause and ask, Array, yesterday I found myself in another house, another bed, but today I am finding myself in another house, another bed. Do you ever question yourself? Absolutely, you take for granted forever from your very birth. You have been in the same house wherever you find. Even every 2 minutes, if your dream changes, you will never question that. You are exactly in the right place with the right persons, with the right events. Everything is absolutely real. Because you consider it as real, the question that something has changed, that question will not come. I hope you are getting what I'm driving at. What is it? That what do we call real? That which never changes is real. This dream state, that everything is changing, that experience we never have. When do we have that experience? Upon waking up. Oh, yesterday's dream, I saw myself in Pune. And today's dream, I found myself in Bangalore. You always question this one upon waking up. But this question doesn't arise in the same way. This is the first answer. Second answer, even more interesting. Supposing a person, for whatever reason, has exactly the same dream repeated. He finds himself from the waking state in the same house, with the same people, Suppose the dream never changes. Now you will have terrible problem. So there the boss is so dear, the wife is so endearing, and your children are the greatest children in the world. Everything is absolutely Swargaloka there. And so, is that real or is this real? In this connection, recollect that beautiful story several times I repeated. There was a king and he went to bed after eating royal food, royal dinner. He went to sleep. He had a dream and he found that the neighboring king had invaded his kingdom and this king lost the battle and the other king was chasing him. So this king ran and ran for 2 days and then he found himself in a village in the next kingdom where of course the enemy king could not pursue. He had no what is called, he can't enter into the another country. So this fellow terribly hungry, dream hunger, because he has been running in the dream for 2.5 days or 3 days. So he entered into a village. He found somebody was feeding poor people. He also stood in the queue because a driven out king is none other than a poor man. And then when his turn came, the whole food was finished and there was nobody left out behind him. And then when he reached, the server said, "Sir, I'm so terribly sorry, food is exhausted." Then this so-called king, now no more a king, lost kingdom. So he was a beggar. He looked into the pot, saw something, uh, what is called glued to at the bottom, burnt out food. You give me that food. I don't care. I'm so hungry. So the other person took pity upon him, scooped up a good lot, and then put it. I have to add a bit of masala mine. Supposing that food is prepared with first class cow's ghee, I think what is at the bottom, the person who gets it is the most luckiest person in the whole world. You have seen so many times the last remnant you are trying to scoop up with your big finger, thumb, and that tastes heavenly. So this person scooped up, gave it in a leaf plate, and as the king was about to swallow it, a big bird came from the sky and it wanted to take it away, but unfortunately it fell into the dust and it could no more be eaten. At that time, at the same time, that farmer person who lost his kingdom woke up. And then it was so real what he saw waking up state and where his dream ended. Waking up state started, he could not still distinguish. So he started shouting, "Is this real? Is that real?" And everybody, the queen got up, the ministers came, and this went on for 3 days. The king was only asking. Now he the king because it was only a dream. And then, is that real? Or is this real? क्या वो सच है? क्या ये सच है? And then fortunately, a great rishi happened to be passing by and the ministers got the news and they brought him. And then the king cried out, "Is that real or is this real?" And then the sage replied, "O king, hey Rajan, neither that is real nor this is real. You alone, you the experiencer of what you call, that means dream state experience. This means waking state experience. Both are unreal. You who is the experiencer alone is the reality." What a marvelous story. So when we are in the dream state, that is real. When we are in the waking state, that is real. Now, which is the reality? If we are intelligent and we will not know, this same doubt will come. Was that real or is this real? And this is what Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful example. Whether he heard it from somebody, I will just briefly remind you. There was a farmer, he was a gnani, and he had only one son. And one day the son died, and he was working at that time in the fields. Somebody came and informed him. So he hurried home, saw his only son lying dead, and he was not shedding any tears. And his wife got terribly angry. What type of person you are? Your only son died. There is not one tear in your eye. And then the farmer, being a gnani, replied, look, yesterday I had a dream. I was a king. I had not one, but 7 beautiful princes. And then I woke up, my kingdom gone, my kinghood gone, my beautiful wife gone. He did not say that, I am saying this. And my children are all gone. All the intelligent, beautiful, extraordinarily endowed children, everything is gone. Now shall I weep for those 7 children whom I have lost, or shall I weep for this one son? A lot of masala can be added. This is the story. Because he was a gnani, both dream is equally unreal as the waking state. Waking, dream, there is no difference at all. But for our consolation, Shankaracharya says, or Anandagiri adds, that from the standpoint of the ultimate reality, the waking state appears to be unreal. But really it is, even from our point of view. What is the definition of unreality? Whatever is changing is unreal. First, to try to fix in our minds this truth, whatever is changing, that should be considered as the definition of unreality. So, I was born long back, I lived nearly 80 years, and I am looking forward, and I don't know when Shiva will give moksha. He is delaying, dilly-dallying, like our central government, all our appeal for funds and donations, etc. Anyway, but we think this is the real. Waking state is real. But no, if we are intelligent, if we analyze the dream state and compare it to the waking state is absolutely as unreal, because things are different in dream and things are different in the waking state. We don't need to wait for that ultimate realization. This is what Gaudapada wants to drive into us. So why all this, that everything, how is this world unreal? So he says, from the standpoint of the ultimate reality, the body perceived in the waking state, whether it is honored or insulted, is also unreal. How is it unreal? It is because this body is also an idea in the mind of the perceiver. Body is an idea because this is a beautiful body. Who says? Mind says. But there may be people who may consider this very body as the ugliest body in this world. Or some things can consider this body the tastiest body in the whole world. If you fall into the hands of a cannibal, he says, what a marvelous thing. So, as dream objects are unreal on account of their being perceived by the mind. That is, first argument we have discussed was whatever is changing. And who is observing the change? It is the mind. And even when we observe, do two people perceive any object exactly in the same way? Absolutely no. At least, do we perceive the same object exactly in the same way? We may consider a person a friend for some time, then a deadliest enemy at other times. We are also changing our opinion about every object. The same object is dear at one point, Same object, we feel like killing or murdering at some other point of view. So our perception is absolutely unreliable. So Ananda Tirtha, he gives this beautiful Anandagiri, he gives a beautiful example. Whatever is perceived, what was the first argument? Whatever is changing. And change is perceived by whom? By the mind. Why does it perceive? Because time, space, and causation are the characteristics of the mind. So, whatever the mind observes, whether it be dream state, dreamless state, is unreal. For that matter of fact, if you have a vision of God and the mind perceives the vision of God, that is also unreal. There is a beautiful story. Once there was a great soul called Krishna Premi. He was a great sadhu, a devotee of Krishna. And once he met Ramana Maharshi, and he had, by that time, he had several visions of Krishna, and he wanted to be patted on the back. You are a great devotee. So he narrated very joyfully his experiences to Ramana Bhagavan, and Ramana Bhagavan went on looking above his head, through his head. And at the end of the narration, Ramana Maharshi, this man was waiting for his remark. And Bhagavan remarked, whatever comes also will go. And this man was telling, I was so disheartened by this remark of Ramana Maharshi. What can be done? He returned home to his ashrama somewhere in North India, Pune or somewhere, or Meerut. And then really it so happened, all these visions started to fade away, and he never had any visions. Then he understood the remark of Ramana Maharshi, whatever comes, it goes. Whatever is perceived, that disappears. Nothing is stable in this world. So whatever is perceived by the mind, waking, dream, visions of God, visions of bhutas, whatever it is, that is the definition. Second definition. What was the first definition? That whatever is changing is unreal. What is the second definition? Whatever is perceived by the mind is unreal, because mind itself is in a constant flux, change of state of change. That is the reason. Whatever is experienced through a changing instrument, that also is unreal. We move on to the 37th. Grahanat jagaritavat tad hetu swapnaishyate tad hetutvat tasyeva sa jagaritam ishyate. Now we are entering into deeper waters. What is it? And the experience of objects in dream is similar to the experience of objects in the waking state. Therefore, it is thought by all of us that the waking experiences are the cause of the dream experiences. On account of this reason, the waking experiences, supposed to be the cause of the dream appearances, appear as real to the dreamer alone, but not to others. This verse really exercises our capacity to understand. What is it telling? Why do we say, why do we feel that dream experiences are real? What is the reason? Because one of the most important reason is, how do dreams arise? Because in the waking state, we experience so many things. All our experiences from the waking state are stored up in the form of memory, and we never take our experiences in the waking state as unreal. And therefore, this concept that whatever we are experiencing in the waking state are very, very, very real. The same concept proceeds into the dream state. And then we, while experiencing dream, we feel these are all very, very real. And what is the subtlety of this argument? This is called causal relationship. You have to listen carefully, try to understand. I will try my best to explain this one. See, first of all, we have to understand what is the relationship between cause and effect. So, if supposing milk is there and it is turned into curds, what is the cause? Milk, the curds is called effect, milk is called cause. And whatever be the material of the milk, that is of the cause, exactly will be the material. A golden ornament, for example, will be gold only. It will not be silver ornament. It will not be iron ornament. It will be golden ornament only. So this is very important for us to understand. So this is the cause and effect. Whatever the nature of the cause is, and the effect also will be exactly the same. Apply this to the waking state. If the waking state is considered as real, without any doubt, we will have to consider the dream state also as absolutely real. Why? Because waking state is the cause which produces the dream state. So there is a causal relationship between waking state and the dream state. If the waking state is real, we can't say the dream state is also unreal. But what happens in our case? While dreaming, we have no doubt what we are experiencing is absolutely real. How do we know it is real? Another point we have to experience. I have discussed this many times, but I'm repeating this one. What is it? That how do we know that something is real? We have to infer what we think is real by our reaction. Supposing you are seeing a cinema, and on the cinema screen, you see that invaluable diamonds, gems, etc. A basket of them is our Kohinoor diamond on the crown of in the now UK. You see it. Do you run to grab it? No. You see a beautiful food in the in a restaurant on the in the cinema screen. Do you rush to order it and to grab it and to eat it? No. Why? Because you are completely aware this is only seemingly real, not really real. So, this is an illustration to find out the causal relationship between if we think the waking is real, the dream also must be taken as real. But then what happens when we wake up and then we say the dream is unreal? So, this is the crux of the argument. But this leads us into the second argument. What is it? Just as upon waking up, that is, upon changing that state called dream into the waking state, we consider what we experienced before in what we call the dream state as unreal because it bears no resemblance to the waking state. Similarly, also, when we are in the dream state, the waking state also becomes exactly nullified, like upon waking up, how we consider the dream. So, while entering into the dream state, experiencing dream state, we consider the waking experiences also exactly in the same light. We don't need to wait for the ultimate reality. And then sometimes you wonder also, how did I come to America? Yesterday I was in Bangalore, and today morning I found myself in United States. How come? But we don't uh, cherish think deeply about that thought. But there also, the question comes sometimes I thought that I failed in the examinations, but now I find I went and saw that I have completely passed my examinations. So today we have established this deeper thought. Dream is unreal upon waking up. Similarly, waking is also unreal when we are in dream state from the dream state point of view, because both do not tally, and therefore to say that dream state is unreal upon waking up. So dream state is real while dreaming, unreal upon waking up. Waking state is real while we are in the waking state, and when we are in the dream state, waking state, just like dream, becomes unreal. So comparatively, one makes the other unreal, but there is a deeper point. There is a concept of reality, and that is what we will discuss in our next class. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. May Ram Krishna, Holy Mother, and Swami Vivekananda bless us all with Bhakti. Jai Ram Krishna.